Lake, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12th, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28th, 2023. Go to MichiganWeek.org for details.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Keefe. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Wake up, Greater West Bloomfield. Start your mornings with The Splash and tune in for The Splash Live. Get acquainted with people, places, and activities that are live, local, and for you. First thing in the morning, weekdays at 9:30 a.m. on our Civic Center TV YouTube page, or watch us live at Civic Center TV or on Facebook. The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live update show.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
I'm feeling good. Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast, 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live local daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today, we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today. CivicCenterTV.com on our local news page. Our first article comes from Mike Ellis at the Lansing State Journal via the Detroit Free Press. If you're looking for a Christmas tree, your luck may not be better than any time this year. The number of Christmas trees has returned to levels not seen in a decade here in the state of Michigan. That's according to Amy Start, the executive director of the Michigan Christmas Tree Association. That means better supply and better choices than in several years past. But don't let the increased supply fool you. The demand is still there, and even a better supply can't bring those prices down like with most products. Trees are usually shipped by trucks, and trucks, in this case, those flatbeds, use diesel. So those pump prices are not just ruining Christmas in one way this year, they're ruining Christmas in a variety of ways for many different people, with the average price of diesel fuel up $2 per gallon from a year ago today. That's according to AAA. So as you get ready to shop and you budget for the perfect tree, use the following metrics to kind of estimate what the base cost of your tree might be. Expect to pay about $10 to $12 per foot for each one of your trees. That's not including all the bells, whistles, and frills like ornaments, lights, sleigh bells, and more that you'll also add to your tree if you don't have them already. But you'll have a great supply and plenty of options, as the only states that grow more trees than the Great Lakes state are Oregon and North Carolina. But there's a catch. They don't have nearly the variety of different kinds of Christmas trees and the biodiversity in those trees that we have here in the state of Michigan. So a little bit of everything you can find in terms of your Christmas tree shopping right here in the Great Lakes state. Also making headlines today from Hannah McKay at the Detroit News, a heartwarming story over 1,500 miles away. Tragedy builds bridges into heartbroken communities. 16 Oxford High School students over the weekend traveled south to Uvalde, Texas, meeting survivors of another tragic school shooting at Robb Elementary School earlier this year. It was known as the Survivors United Play Day, with a goal of building bonds of love and support between these two communities with, unfortunately, very similar experiences. Quote, after you go through something like that, you're feeling guilty. You don't feel like you should be having a good time and laughing, said Josie Stoffen, a 17-year-old Oxford senior. She continued on by saying, quote, so I think this event is really good because we've been, playing games with them and letting them know you need to laugh and have a good time to get through it, end closed quote. The participating 16 Oxford High School students were part of the International Baccalaureate program at Oxford and founded the Oxford Legacy Foundation just the day after the horrific shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas earlier this year. A lovely story from the heart of our community to deep in the heart of Texas from Hannah McKay at the Detroit News. Highly encourage you to read this, get more testimony and accounts from the Oxford High School students that attended the Survivors United Play Day in Texas over the weekend, as well as hear from members of the Uvalde, Texas community too, about their interaction with our friends from in Oxford, Michigan. Finally, making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. This is coming from MLive. We have a great story about the Bills and the Browns coming into town over the weekend to play their football game, a Bills home game in Detroit. Now, why are the Buffalo Bills going to play their home game in Detroit? No, they didn't get lost on the way to the stadium. They probably couldn't find their stadium on account of they had over 6 feet of snow in the city of Buffalo over the weekend. Frankly, it was surprising that they even got the players out. In some cases, I saw there were a couple of players from Buffalo who had posted pictures of them with several feet of snow above at or near their heads. They had to dig out their truck from under a bunch of snow. They hadn't gotten out of town yet, and it was late Friday, early Saturday at that point. But they made their way out here. They found a way to get their players to Detroit, and their fans found a way to get to Ford Field with over 80% capacity in the stands on Sunday for the game between the Bills and the visiting Cleveland Browns in this matchup in the NFL. The Bills, of course, bringing their signature Bills Mafia fan base, Cleveland, and their dog pound also coming into town as well, having a good time tailgating outside of Ford Field in downtown Detroit and enjoying a football game at Ford Field. The Buffalo Bills, of course, going to be staying in town, as will the Bills Mafia for a few more days as they go up against the Putty Cats on Thursday for the Thanksgiving traditional matchup on CBS. That ballgame as well, 12:30 p.m. is the scheduled kickoff time. Broadcast on CBS Detroit in the Detroit area and your local CBS station. Check your listings in your home community for what station that is and when their coverage will begin on Thursday this week. A short turnover for the Detroit Lions following their decisive win in New York, technically East Rutherford, New Jersey, against the New York Football Giants over the weekend. The Putty Cats, CBS, 12:30 for a TV broadcast on Thanksgiving and radio broadcast on the Detroit Lions radio network, flagship in the Detroit area. 97.1 The Ticket with a call from the legend himself, Dapper Dan Miller, on the call on the radio. All those headlines on our website today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page, along with links to COVID-19 updates from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Monday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, the winter season's upon us. It means you're probably wearing a few more layers, putting a few more changes of clothes, maybe some extra shoes or boots in your kids' backpacks. That can lead to some back pain. We'll figure out how you can avoid the back pain, treat that back pain, and keep your back nice and strong with chiropractor Dr. Richard Levine from the Levine Clinic of Chiropractic. Coming up next, you're watching and listening to the Megacast.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone, too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com. Watch Civic Center TV with our brand new live captions. To turn on live captions, go to civiccentertv.com and click Watch Live. In your web browser, click on the Options tab in the top right and find the Accessibilities tab. Then just switch on live captions to heighten your enjoyment of our local programming. Thank you so much for watching Civic Center TV.
Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes state, including My Michigan TV, streaming online and for free, including on their My Michigan TV app. And find all of our full shows and each individual interview on every single edition of the program on demand. civiccentertv.com/megacast. Well, we are officially into, well, not officially yet, it's not on the calendar officially winter, but it feels like it. It finally feels like cold weather and winter weather here in the state of Michigan. A little bit of snow over the weekend as well. And so with winter weather, maybe we bundle up a little bit more when we send our kids off to school, probably put some extra warm clothes, maybe some extra pair of shoes for in the classroom, in their book bags. And that can mean more weight on their back. And that can mean some back pain as well as our usual pains and aches over the winter season. Joining us to talk about why those things happen and ways we can prevent those sort of back pains and treat them as well is chiropractor Dr. Richard Levine from the Levine Clinic of Chiropractic. Dr. Levine, thank you for being with us today.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you on as well. Appreciate you coming on the show. So at this time of the year, when the seasons change from the warmer side of the year in the spring and the summer especially, into the cooler side of the year in the fall, and well, it just seems like we skipped fall altogether and went straight to winter. What are some of those common issues that we see, particularly for people's backs around this time of the year?
I always talk to patients about the winter isn't inherently problematic. What the winter is it's going to exacerbate what's already there. So the easy answer is take care of yourself in the summer, take care of yourself in the fall. You should have an easier winter. But, hindsight's 2020. Now that we're here, what can we do to stay well? And my answer is always going to be overall health. Drink a lot of water, get some sunlight, eat the right foods. We talk about the cold season, we talk about the flu season. As far as I'm concerned, we don't catch a cold. The cold catches you. We go from Halloween, our sugar candy, or our sugar holiday, to Thanksgiving, our pie holiday, to Christmas and New Year's Eve, our cookie and alcohol holiday, to then we go into Valentine's Day, the second candy holiday. So what I mean by that is sugar is the ultimate inflammation factor in the body, the ultimate inflammatory trigger. So what we want to do is this time of year, first and foremost, good health. Like I said, make sure we're eating fruits and vegetables, drinking our water, and avoiding that excess sugar. In terms of our spine, the problem we oftentimes face in the winter is that the air pressure drops, yet we treat our body the same. So we want to make sure we're stretching. We want to make sure we're keeping our bodies warm. We want to make sure we're dressing properly when we're outside in the elements.
And I've heard the phrase before, sitting is the new smoking. When we get into the winter season, people aren't getting outside as much. They tend to be lounging more often in the home. And so they're sitting for an extended period of time. Dr. Levine, how does that play a factor into some of those aches and pains as well?
Well, we want to make sure of with sitting is that periodically just get up. Even if you're only walking in place, getting up, moving the joints is going to be very beneficial. That's number one. Number two, what we want to make sure of is that we're getting some sunlight. And I know it seems like I brought up the sun a couple of times. Sitting itself isn't the problem. It's that we're sedentary. All summer long, we sit at work during the day, we sit at school, but then in the evenings and the afternoons, we go to a park, we go for a walk, we ride on a boat, we go for a bicycle ride. Where now suddenly we sit all day at work, sun sets at 4:00, and we go home and we sit at home. So the key isn't altering our work schedule as much, isn't altering our school or work sitting, but making sure we're being more active when we're outside of the office, when we're outside of school. If you look at the Scandinavian countries, they're in the sun, they're in the elements all winter long. They get outside, they take their kids outside. So, like I mentioned, don't so much pay attention on altering your sitting during the day. But one of the best things you can do is when you're not at work, when you're not in school, get outside, get that body moving.
We're joined by Dr. Richard Levine on today's edition of the Megacast with Levine Clinic of Chiropractic, over 55 years of service to the community in the local area. Dr. Levine, another thing we see so often this season is, of course, it gets snowy outside and people will be shoveling their driveway, shoveling their walkways, shoveling their way in and out of their work building if they're in the office during a blizzard. And often the technique isn't quite there, and that leads to a lot of back problems this time of the year. What suggestions do you have for individuals as they're taking care of this routine winter activity, winter chore, to make sure they're not putting themselves in position to injure themselves, particularly their back?
Now, my first answer, the first answer is going to be my first answer across the board, which is getting your spine looked at, getting your spine adjusted. There's no way to know the health of your teeth without going to the dentist. Now, our spine is the same way. If our spine was on our mouth, was on our face, I think we'd take a lot better care of it. We wouldn't see the spinal decay, the spinal degeneration that we see in so much of the population. But nonetheless, Levine Clinic, we're celebrating 60 years in practice here in Farmington Hills. And one of our biggest goals is, what can we train patients to do for out of the office? So before shoveling, stretching. I know it sounds, like something we haven't thought about since we were in gym class in grade school, but stretching, whether it be on a physio ball, whether it be right on your mattress or on the floor, stretching's real important, number one. Number two, what I want everyone to make sure they're doing is, if you go to any hardware, Home Depot, Lowe's, you'll see they now make a curved shovel. The shovel is curved, and that's a little bit more ergonomic, so that way there's putting less torque, less strain on your spine. When we're shoveling, making sure we're keeping our hands spread apart. By keeping it spread apart, it allows us to put less torque in the body. Making sure that instead of shoveling and then twisting, we're actually rotating our whole body to move the snow. And then take a little bit longer. Don't try to do it quickly. When you try to do it quickly, you're putting more shovel on, or we're putting more snow on the blade each time, which makes it heavier, harder to move. So, again, first and foremost, get your spine looked at. Without seeing a doctor of chiropractic, there's no way to know what the health of your spine is. That's number one. Number two, stretch and be smart. Don't try to overdo it. Make sure you're also wearing warm clothes. I see my neighbors going out there in shorts and sandals. Their bodies are cold. You look at a baseball pitcher between innings, it could be 80 degrees. They're always putting a jacket on, making sure they're keeping their throw and shoulder warm. Make sure we're keeping our joints warm when we're out there shoveling the snow. Boots, gloves, hats, all that stuff.
We're joined by Dr. Richard Levine from the Levine Clinic of Chiropractic on today's edition of the Megacast. Find more information, levineclinic.com, levineclinic.com. You can also call them to request an appointment and get more information, 248-855-2666. That's 248-855-2666 for more information, and follow them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and review them on Yelp as well. All that information, again, on the website, levineclinic.com. Dr. Levine, we think about the kids this time of the year. I always remember in elementary school during the colder months of the year, my backpack felt just a little bit more heavy than it usually did before, between packing snow pants, maybe an extra pair of shoes for in the building versus boots for outside, all my books and homework and all that too. And that can have an impact on kids' backs and on their overall health and posture too. What suggestions do you have for parents in helping prevent some of these issues in their children. I would imagine some of them very similar to what we do for adults, but also what they should be looking for in case their kid might be having some issues with their back this season.
Well, if financially feasible, I've talked to a lot of patients about it the last couple of weeks. If financially feasible, keep an extra set of boots, some winter gear at school. That way they're not having to carry it with them, hold it at the bus stop, or carry it on the bus, the walk to school, whatever it may be. So if you can keep an extra set of snow boots, that type of stuff at school, that would take some weight off the spine. The other thing I would suggest is try to get a backpack with compartments and keep the heavier stuff closer to your back, because what that's going to do is by having it closer to the back and wearing the shoulder straps, always wearing 2 shoulder straps at a time tightly, making sure you're really tightening them. What that's going to do is keep that weight close to your spine and not pulling you back from the backpack. Another thing I always make sure of talking to parents and talking to kids about in the office is stretching. Make stretching fun. It's something you can do as a whole family. Mom and dad can do it with their kids. And then last but not least, making sure kids are never running. Very common, kids that's late for the bus stop, whatever it may be. Make sure they're not running, because even when it might not look icy, as we all know, it can be. And one more thing, I know I already said it was the last, but one more thing is making sure kids are taking big, normal steps. Oftentimes in the winter, we take these baby steps and we're not putting all of the weight down on our body. We want to make sure that we're taking normal steps, putting our weight into our heel, and that's going to keep us balanced on the ground, give us a better surface so we're not sliding.
We're joined by Dr. Richard Levine on today's edition of the Megacast with Levine Clinic of Chiropractic. Again, more information can be found on levineclinic.com. Dr. Levine, a few more minutes with you today before we'll need to say goodbye. Anything else we should be keeping in mind at this time or this season to keep up with our back health, our spinal health, and more?
Yeah, I was just going to say, one other quick answer to keeping kids healthy in the winter is our office. We see a lot of kids. To adjust a child, it's not nearly the same process we use to adjust an adult. To adjust a baby, we use no more force than you would use when you're picking a tomato at the grocery store. Very, very, very gentle force. Sometimes we even use an instrument to adjust them. So that's number one. Number two, for the winter, what I would highly suggest is the things that we do in the summer, do them in the winter. Obviously, they have to be altered. But in terms of our food, all summer long, we eat picnic foods, coleslaws, potato salads, watermelon. Now in the winter, we have a tendency to cook a lot, cook the nutrients off of fruits and vegetables. So make sure that we're eating a good amount of fruit, a good amount of vegetables. As we head into the winter time, like I mentioned earlier, sugar being such an inflammatory thing, making sure that we're finding alternative sweetener sources. Thanksgiving coming up. Instead of adding sugar to your cranberry sauce, add some honey, add some maple syrup. In terms of the spine, as we all summer long, the pressure is high, and that allows for an open disc space. As we head into the winter time, that pressure drops and that disc space becomes thinner. And when we start to get that swelling, things push outwards. And when we get all those tissues pushing outwards, we're more likely to have pain. We're more likely to feel those discs and those nerves aggravated. So making sure you're seeing your doctor of chiropractic, making sure that you're stretching is also another benefit. In our office, we teach all of our patients a 2-minute stretching exercise. And that's to be used just like we brush our teeth, not simply for pain management, but for the preservation of spinal health, spinal hygiene. And one last thing I want to add in the wintertime is making sure that we're keeping our windows open. By keeping our windows open, we get some fresh air. We move that same dusty air as opposed to breathing in that same dry air all the time. And you can also get a humidifier in the house. A lot of people have humidifiers built into their furnace, but getting a freestanding humidifier, keep it next to your beds, next to your kids' beds, that's going to not only hydrate the body, help you avoid the dry, cracking skin, but it's also going to lubricate the lining of the nose, helping prevent cracking there and keeping your first line of defense healthy, not letting those pathogens in. And like I mentioned earlier, getting outside and getting some sunlight, that's going to stimulate vitamin D synthesis, the conversion of cholesterol to vitamin D, which is a major building block throughout our whole body, but especially in our immune and our respiratory systems. Levine Clinic is part of our celebrating our 60th anniversary. We've been offering what we call our Keep Smiling coupons. Anybody that sees this on the Megacast or heard about it, if you want to call our office and if you just mention the Keep Smiling coupon, That'll allow you a complimentary consultation with one of our doctors here, which can put you in the pathway of achieving better health, both spinal and physical.
We appreciate that. And I'm sure your customers also tuning in will appreciate that as well. 248-855-2666. Mention the Keep Smiling coupon that Dr. Levine just mentioned at 248-855-2666, or get in contact with the Levine Clinic of Chiropractic also at levineclinic.com. Dr. Levine, thank you so much for joining us.
Tyler, thank you so much for having us. You, the entire West Bloomfield community, have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And again, for 60 years, it's been our pleasure to serve.
We appreciate you serving, and thank you for joining us today as well. levineclinic.com is their website. We'll take a break on the Megacast. Coming up next, how a local woman turned her love of fashion and lifestyle into a hustle of her own. We'll be joined next with lifestyle and fashion content creator Monifa Cook on today's edition of the Megacast.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Kego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12th, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28th, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program by visiting our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations throughout the Great Lakes State, on TV, on the radio, and on the web, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows and each individual interview from today's program and those all the way leading back to March of 2020 when we first began this broadcast 5 days a week on civiccentertv.com/megacast. Joining us now on the program is Monifa Cook, a lifestyle and fashion content creator and influencer on today's program. Monifa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, appreciate having you on. So you are a lifestyle and a fashion content creator. You also are the founder of Cultured Creatives and thousands of followers on Instagram, thousands of followers on TikTok. You travel, you show off different fashion. Where did all of this begin?
Well, all of this started for me back in 2019. So I really got started with influencing when I was on Instagram and things like that, and it really just started to kick off. But I didn't see too many people that actually, look like me. So I wanted to start influencing and doing content creation because I just wanted to share more pieces of my life and also just inspire women to just do whatever they want, do whatever they love. And that's pretty much how it got started back then, 2019. And now I'm actually just coming back from an influencer trip this weekend, and it was great. So I'm still enjoying the lifestyle pretty much.
It seems like too with influencers, but with content creators, there's that moment where they decide to go into that and take that leap and start making more content. But then you're building that audience. It takes a while to do that. But there's always that moment where you realize what your thing is, what your style is, what you're going to be doing and presenting to this audience, and that moment where it all clicks. When was that for you?
Oh, wow. The moment it really all clicked, it honestly was some time into it because I really didn't know what I was doing. I just started posting. So the more I was getting myself comfortable with doing it and just getting the more experience, I was like, okay, I think I want to pretty much stick to this niche or do this type of content. So really it was just trying many different things, seeing what works, what doesn't, and just going from there. So once I found out what works for me and it was something that I genuinely, enjoy doing, which was more so that lifestyle and fashion piece, I just stuck with it and it's been doing very well for me. It's been working.
You mentioned earlier, Monifa, that one of the reasons that you really went into this was you didn't see content creators in this particular space that had similar life experiences to you that looked like you. And so
Yeah.
as you've gone through and had this experience and have grown your audience across social media, how has that continued to influence A, the way you approach your work, but B, how you present that work to this audience that's both in that community that you're looking to represent, but also in other communities that maybe don't have that full understanding of your life experiences?
Yes, good question, actually. So now I have noticed a big change from 2019 versus now, and really thanks to TikTok. I feel like there's plenty of creators and influencers that look like me now that's just like taking over. So I feel like there has been an increase in Black and brown influencers everywhere. And now I feel like people are now understanding what being an influencer and content creation is all about. So whenever I'm on TikTok now, and I see new creators, and I'm just like, wow, I'm always looking to support other creators and just being able to still do what I love to do, and that's create content for fashion and lifestyle and travel. Like travel has become kind of a big thing this year for me. I've traveled a lot, so I've been able to, dip and dab in that a little bit, and that's just like a different realm itself because it just opens you up to a variety of experiences. But now I just feel like it's finally becoming a balance. Now it's all about making sure those Black and brown creators just get the same opportunities as other counterparts in the space. So that's pretty much the thing now, just making sure that we're still getting what we deserve because a lot of, inspiration for different trends and stuff like that comes from, Black and brown creators. So yeah.
We're joined by Monifa Cook on today's edition of the Megacast, a lifestyle and fashion and travel content creator and influencer as well. You can also find her on different social media, Instagram at Monifa Simone, as well as on TikTok at the Monifa Simone as well. That's MONIFAHSYMONE, Monifa Simone on Instagram, the Monifa Simone on TikTok as well. You mentioned that travel's become a big part of your content creation in more recent times. Of all the places you've traveled for your content creation, where have been some of your favorite locations or most interesting locations?
Oh, most interesting. I would definitely say this weekend I did go to Ohio to Sawmill Resort. That was my first time going to that resort. So it was actually very, very nice because they have their season of joy for Christmas and stuff going on. So that was a new experience for me because I never went anywhere like during the winter time, especially, living in Michigan in the Midwest. It's not that much to do when it gets cold. So going somewhere that actually was focused around winter activities and different events and things like that, it was perfect. I really enjoyed that. And if you're looking for something to do this winter, I would definitely go to that place because it had everything that you were looking for. And also, I went to Cleveland as well, and I really had a great time. It was my first time in Cleveland, Ohio, because it's not too far from Michigan where we're at right now. So I really wasn't expecting anything of it. Like Ohio is not my first place. Like, oh, I want to travel, but it was a great experience. I also enjoyed my time in Mexico and Dallas, Texas earlier this year. But
Sorry for interrupting there. I was going to say
I know
you can Follow along with all the experiences on her social media on Instagram at Monifa Simone, on TikTok at the Monifa Simone, where you can also find a link to her link tree for more information, other projects, her YouTube channel, as well as Pinterest and other different links too that are helpful and provided by Monifa as well. She's of course a lifestyle and fashion and travel content creator, also is the founder of Cultured Creatives. So I want to give you a few minutes too to talk about Cultured Creatives and how you're kind of taking all these different experiences, all this different marketing and social media experience, and helping apply it to others also across our communities.
Mm-hmm. So Cultured Creatives was something that I started back in 2021. So just last year, I got my business up running off the ground with my co-founder, my partner, Shantae Wiggins. So really, we started Culture Creatives because with the pandemic and everything happening like that, we noticed a lot of small businesses around the local Detroit metro area who were struggling with their social media and just like building that strong presence and following, and also establishing a social media strategy to grow their accounts and reach larger audiences. So that's where we came into play. We were like, you know what? Let's support people. Let's use our skills and abilities and our degrees, and let's do this. So that's pretty much how Culture Creators got started. And now almost 2 years in business. It's just been a year and a half so far. So almost two. It's been a journey, and I'm so happy that we've been able to still, be running and helping clients. And right now we work with like influencers, streetwear brands, and like beauty, lifestyle. So just getting as much experience as we can possible to continue to help others and small businesses and really help them grow. Culture Creators it's been great, and I've been so blessed and just happy to be able to still use my degree and also do what I love at the same time.
More information can be found, get in contact with Monifa and the team at Cultured Creatives on the website, culturedcreatives.org. You can also find them on both Facebook and Instagram at Cultured Creatives, on Facebook at Cultured Creatives, and Instagram too, Creatives with 2 S's on both of those social media. And then you can find them at Cultured-Creatives on LinkedIn, also culturedcreatives.org. For more information. We're joined by Monifa Cook, an influencer and content creator, on today's edition of the Megacast. Doing what you love. You have thousands of followers across various social media and showing all these different passions of yours and experiences of yours. For those that are interested in content creating and would like to make that their career, their side hustle, or just an interest that they grow over time, what advice do you have for them as they're getting started or as they're already in process and maybe, feeling some of the aches and the pains that you get early on in that process?
My advice to new content creators and influencers would be to just keep going and staying consistent. Consistency is going to be key. And I know if you're thinking like, oh, brands are not seeing me, things like that, they are. Just keep going, keep posting, and just keep getting better. So it's really just staying consistent and committed, because it's really a journey and not just a destination. So for any new inspiring content creators, influencers out there, I'll just say keep going. Right now, if you want any tiny bit of marketing advice, get started on TikTok. TikTok is the best avenue right now to really grow faster, and the algorithm works better on that platform. So use TikTok to the best of your ability and just have fun with it and be yourself. So that is my advice to new and inspiring content creators and influencers.
You can find Monifa on TikTok at the Monifa Simone, as well as on Instagram at Monifa Simone as well. Monifa, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Her business, Cultured Creatives, is also online, culturedcreatives.org. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, we are just a few days away from the beginning of the major holiday season here in Michigan, across the U.S. and around the world. And as you get ready for your family fun day later on this week, sometimes with a backhanded compliment, with a political comment, with a not so well placed joke, that can turn into family fight night. How do we avoid that? How do we welcome people into our homes, but also command that respect of your space as well, and do it in a way that's polite and correct? Stacey Amy, the etiquette guru, joins us next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. the virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations and find our full shows and each individual interview on demand. That website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Well, as we travel across the state, maybe across the country, or even across the world this holiday season to visit our family, or vice versa, they come to visit us in our homes. There are certain things that we should be aware of to create a welcoming environment, but also command the respect and rules of your space, and what you should do when you're going into these spaces to show respect for other people's space, as well as their feelings and their manners as well. Here to talk to us about how to have a prim and proper holiday season is the etiquette guru, our good friend Stacy Amy, back with us on the Megacast. Stacy, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Hi, Tyler.
Appreciate having you on. And so as we get back into the holiday season again, it's a difficult time of the year for a lot of people because you're seeing a lot of people at one time. And sometimes it's people that you haven't seen in a long time. It's people that maybe you don't get along with all too well, even within your own group of friends or extended friend groups or family groups especially. So what suggestions do you have for people going into those kinds of situations to navigate them respectfully, but also, to keep their own peace as well?
The most important thing I can say is the thing about good manners and etiquette is it's all about making others feel comfortable whenever possible. So it becomes a choice. And when you step back and consider that, it may change your behavior, just keeping that in mind. And follow what you normally do and read people. If they are receptive to perhaps a hug, something like that, then hug it out by all means and read their signals. If they're stepping away from you, then give them that space.
It's also important to recognize the space that you're going into or that people are coming into also. So Stacy, how do you balance that? If you're hosting, Friendsgiving, or you're hosting a Thanksgiving or other holiday gatherings with your family, and they're coming into your space, what's your suggestion for the best way to navigate people being respectful of your space, but also being respectful of those individual people, so you don't have those spats and those back and forth battles that sometimes erupt at family gatherings of this kind?
People are still divided and have a variety of comfort levels. I think that's primarily what's on the table here. So if people are coming into your space, you can be forthcoming with perhaps your expectations, your ideas of how things should go. That's the courteous thing to do. If others aren't on the same page with you, that allows them to bow out gracefully if that's what they need to do. So I think communication is key always, and making your wishes known. And if people have a problem with it, then maybe next year you can all get together.
It's something that comes up every year during the holiday season, especially when you're thinking about Thanksgiving and getting together with an extended family. It's some of those conversations that go one way or the other that are not quite as you'd like them to be. Certainly if politics come up, that can be a very divisive issue and divisive issues. So when you mentioned, like you said earlier, respectfully bowing out, how do you approach that? How do you suggest approaching that if a topic of conversation comes up that you really don't want to participate in because you know it's not going anywhere fruitful or anywhere that's going to be meaningful other than just for meaningless bickering? How do you respectfully approach bowing out of these conversations without just abandoning the gathering that you're at?
There's always pleasantly just saying we can agree to disagree and bow out that way. There's no winners there. If you're just trying to make a point or you feel it's that important, make your point and then leave it alone. But you can expect backlash from that, but to continue on, it's unfair, especially if you're at someone else's home and they're hosting a gathering and now you're arguing with other guests. I mean, stop and think about that. And, like I said in the beginning, step back. It's a choice. Do you really need to make your point? Is it that important to you that you're going to risk offending your host or hostess? I doubt it's worth it.
We're joined by Stacey Amy on today's edition of the Megacast, the etiquette guru, joining us on today's program as we're approaching the holiday season. We want to make sure you get ready for the season and get ready to invite people into your home, but also to go into other people's space and other people's homes as well. It's also a really busy time of the year too, outside of the home too, Stacey. So as we're approaching the holiday shopping season, we can see a lot of nastiness also happen out in the shops and out on the town as people are busy, they're rushed, they're trying to get things done. A lot at the same time, they're juggling the regular busyness of everyday life in today's world. What are your suggestions in those spaces to take care of what you need to take care of, but also to be respectful of everybody else's space, especially as everyone's starting to get back out now too in more great numbers, and things are expectedly going to be a little bit more crowded.
Yes, just take time. Take time to be kind. It's again your choice, and if you can see your way clear to open doors for people and step away from the nastiness, don't participate in it. And it's fun getting back out there and interacting with people, joking around with people. Make your time out in the public fun. You don't have to rush around and be blind to everyone else. I mean, we're all people. So I think if people can just take that time and interact with one another, it's just, let's make it fun for everyone. You don't have to walk around blindly to everything, and just be, completely into yourself. It's not the way to be.
We're joined by the etiquette guru, Stacey Amy, on today's edition of the Megacast. Of course, it's always going to be a tougher situation. And actually, we're having some technical issues back at our master control. So here's what we should do, just because we're in a little bit of a sticky situation with how things are looking technically. We're going to take a very short break, Stacey, and we're going to let our team get things situated back at master control so that this can be as smooth and look as good as possible on the other side. So we'll take a quick break. We're joined by Stacey Amy, the etiquette guru. We apologize for the inconvenience. We'll take a break. We'll come back very shortly. You're watching and listening to the Megacast. Welcome back to the Megacast, our live local daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Our apologies for the technical difficulties there. We have resolved them. We'll continue on now. We're joined by the etiquette guru, Stacey Amy, on today's edition of the Megacast. As we're approaching holiday season, want to make sure that we're being as respectful as we possibly can be for other people's space, and also ensuring that we're commanding that respect ourselves, but doing it with kindness as well. You can learn more from the etiquette guru and get in contact with Stacey about some of her different classes and other lessons that you can learn by going to her website, theetiquetteguru.com. Theetiquetteguru.com is your place to go. Your trusted source for etiquette courses since 2009. Stacey, as we continue on, even outside of the holiday season, we've talked about what we can do in the home. We've talked about what we can do out in the community too. But it's an interesting time in our world and in our society as the COVID-19 pandemic continues on, but it also sort of resembles regular life before the pandemic in a way. And so as we're approaching the holiday season. It's a stressful time of the year. What suggestions do you have for people out in their daily life, whether it be out in on the town or in the workplace, even at home, to respectfully approach their daily life in a way that doesn't necessarily inconvenience them or put them at a disadvantage, but in a way that's also really respectful of what so many other people are going through, which is all across the board at this point?
I think at some point we just have to believe that people will use their common sense, especially at this time of year with our loved ones and going to be sharing meals and things like that with them. If people are requesting things of you, again, that's your turn to make a choice. As I said earlier, if you're uncomfortable with something or you just plain don't want to do it, you can bow out gracefully. If it's something that's not that big of a deal, for example, this is an extreme example, but if somebody wants you to say take a COVID test before coming to Thanksgiving, that would be a time where you're deciding, geez, do I really want to do this? Or you're on the side of, absolutely. Perhaps there's someone that is vulnerable that's going to be there. And then is it really that big of a deal for you to do that? Again, it's your call. So I think approaching things like that, trying to make others feel comfortable. But again, you're absolutely have the right to, if you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to do something that you don't want to do. But I think approaching life with that in mind, just trying to help to keep the peace and make everyone feel comfortable. I think people would get along pretty well if everybody went out with that mindset.
TheEtiquetteGuru.com is the website, TheEtiquetteGuru.com, for more information and to get in contact with Stacy and her team at The Etiquette Guru. Business line 1-866-273-0728, 1-866-273-0728. You can also send her questions and business inquiries at TheEtiquetteGuru@yahoo.com, TheEtiquetteGuru@yahoo.com, and find her on Facebook, The Etiquette Guru MI, Instagram, Etiquette Guru, and Twitter _Etiquette Guru. Stacy, I want to go and give you a few minutes here to talk about some of your services too, because we can talk about different suggestions for what to do at home during the holidays, what to do out in the community during the holidays, certainly in our day-to-day life, but it's different than getting that one-on-one lesson or that group lesson that can really help put these different ideas into practice and make them habit.
The thing that I want to drive home, the rules and actions of manners and etiquette, they're simple and finite. It's your choice, but you need to have the skills first in order to choose. So I think profoundly what I see out in public are dining skills, table manners. They are lacking. And so I invite people of all ages. I have classes for children through adults. Let's refresh our skills together. Maybe not before Thanksgiving, but perhaps before Christmas and throughout next year. It's a very obvious skill or lack thereof. And if you want to appear poised for whatever reason, you need those skills specifically. Nobody enjoys dining with somebody that's lacking there. It's not a pleasant experience. So it is very important.
And there's also plenty of adult options too, adult etiquette, family style, wedding parties too. All of this can be found on Stacy's website, TheEtiquetteGuru.com. Stacy, before we let you go another couple minutes, I want to thank you again for joining us today and for your patience.
You're welcome.
During this segment today, Stacy. Anything else that you would like to say or any other topics we haven't covered on the etiquette side of things that would be important for our audience to be keeping in consideration at this time?
Just in relation to children, I'm going to the MEMSPA conference. That's for elementary and middle school principals. So any educators out there, if you're going to that, please stop by my booth. I have a lot of great giveaways. I'm trying to partner with schools to create a more positive environment at school and therefore in society. So trying to get in there and work with educators on that. I know they do the awesome job of all the regular school things, and this is just an education of a different kind, but so complementary to one another. So I'm looking so forward to that and meeting everybody there. That's the next great thing I have coming up. So I'm really looking forward to that. And you can maybe see over my shoulder, you can, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. You can see Super Murray peeking there behind me. So offering that too, my Murray Mags, just a plethora of information for children, and just a great opportunity to learn many different things that they might not otherwise come across in their life. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and just helping out wherever people want assistance, and reminding or learning, teaching more etiquette and manners, and just bringing more peace and joy to the world if everybody considers everyone else as they go through their daily life.
All of that information on her website, theetiquetteguru.com. You can also call 1-866-273-0728, 1-866-273-0728, or email theetiquetteguru@yahoo.com. Stacy, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And big thank you to all of our guests for joining us on today's program, as well as our dedicated crew, Calvin Brown and Jared Clark at the studio of My Michigan TV. That's it for me this week. Dave Scott will be back Tuesday and Wednesday for more Megacasts, and we'll see you then.